guys, as you see here, today I'm going to talk about the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is comprised of two parts. So the first part is called the sympathetic nervous system. The second part is parasympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic is related to the fight or flight functionally, but the parasympathetic relevant to the rest and digest. So fight or flight means stress. If you are in a stressed situation, your sympathetic will be stimulated, whereas the parasympathetic means relax. So this session I'm gonna specifically focus on the sympathetic nervous system function. So imagine that in a real world you are come across with a stressful situation. For example, you see a lion attacking you. So what will happen? You should stay and fight, so it does not make sense, or flight. So in the both situation, in a stressful situation, what will happen? You will be scared. So when you are scared, your heartbeat increase to pump oxygenated blood to the muscles, so you'll get ready for the flight, and your respiratory rate will be increased to bring more oxygen, more air into the body to make the blood more oxygenated. And you can also, the diameter of the pupil of the eye will be increased to attract lots of light, so you can see better your environment, scanning the environment very well. And it also inhibits some glands, so inhibits the salivary glands and lacrimal glands or digestive system, so you'll get ready to flight. In my previous video, I showed you the origin of the sympathetic neurons. So sympathetic neurons comprised of two neurons. So we have preganglionic and postganglionic neurons. They are synapsing into the ganglion. It is called ganglion. So we have preganglionic and postganglionic neurons. They are synapsing into the ganglion here. So this is the cell body of the preganglionic, and here is the axon, synapses onto the cell body of the postganglionic neuron. So pre means before the ganglion, post means after the ganglion. Where is the sympathetic ganglion? The sympathetic ganglion are here on the length of the sympathetic chain or sympathetic trunk. So these bulge areas are the sympathetic ganglion on the sympathetic chain. Where is the sympathetic chain? So we have two sympathetic chains or trunks on either side of the vertebral column. They are really, really long. They extend from the base of the skull, runs all the way down to the base of the pelvis. So here we have the brain at the top, and this area is the brain stem, and down here this area is spinal cord, which is within the vertebral column. Outside the vertebral column we have this sympathetic chain. So as you know, spinal cord, in my previous videos I showed that spinal cord has different segments. Here is called the cervical segment. This is the thoracic segment. Down here we have lumbar, sacral and coccygeal segments. So where is the cell body of the preganglionic sympathetic neuron? The cell body of the preganglionic sympathetic neuron are in these segments from T1 to L2. So the cell body of the preganglionic neuron coming from the lateral horn of the thoracolumbar segment of the spinal cord. So imagine that the cell body is here, cell body of the preganglionic. The axon exits the spinal cord and then enters here, it's running alongside the spinal nerve, and then enters here to the sympathetic chain and sympathetic ganglion, and synapses onto the cell body of the postganglionic neuron. So where is the cell body of the postganglionic neuron? It is within the ganglion, sympathetic ganglion. And the axon exits the sympathetic chain and synapses the targeted organ. So we have lots of targeted organs. We have eyes, we have vessels, muscles, heart, lung, gut, etc. So this is the first option. Imagine that. I'll show you on the model and then it would be understandable. So this model is the posterior wall of the body, you know, the lateral and anterior wall have been removed. So you can see the posterior wall of the body from the anterior view. So here is the brain at the top. This is the brain stem. Down here within the vertebral column, we have spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. On either side of the vertebral column, we have sympathetic chain or sympathetic trunk, which extends from the base of the skull to the base of the pelvis here. You can see. So it's really, really long. Yeah, the same length of the vertebral column. So look at here. This is the thoracic segment and upper lumbar segment. So as I showed you, the cell body of the preganglionic sympathetic neuron are coming here from the lateral horn of the thoracolumbar segments, and then they exit through the spinal nerve and they supply the synapses onto this ganglion.